After months of saying he didn't want a war with Iran, last night the president threatened a war with Iran in order to protect Saudi Arabia. For more on this, it's time for a closer look. So you know how every night on this show we establish that the Trump administration is full of corrupt, self-dealing con artists who lie pathologically about virtually everything, even the dumbest things, things like hurricane maps. Well, on Friday, we got another example of the Trump administration's war on the truth when the vice president told a weird story about a Triple Crown winning horse biting him.
Vice President Mike Pence reveals Triple Crown winner American Pharoah bit him on the arm. Pence told the story during a policy retreat today for House Republicans in Baltimore. He says he was helping campaign for Congressman Andy Barr last year when the two were invited to see the prize-winning horse in Lexington.
Andy and I were standing there posing for all the cameras, and American Pharoah bit me so hard on the arm I almost collapsed.
That's right. Mike Pence claims American Pharoah bit him. This is the biggest political scandal involving a horse since Secretariat took a dump on Richard Nixon's desk. And by the way, when the news broke that American Pharoah bit Pence, he immediately rocketed to the top of the polls in the Democratic primary. Now, for what it's worth, I always assumed the politician to most likely tell a crazy horse story was Joe Biden. I met Seabiscuit in 1938. He looked that horse right in the eyes. I shook his hoof and I said, "Best of luck out there, fella." And then they opened the gates and I beat that horse in the Kentucky Derby. I mean, it would certainly be less crazy than this insane answer Biden gave during the Democratic debate on Thursday when asked about the legacy of slavery in America. First, he couldn't even get through the question without screwing up.
Mr. Vice President, I want to come to you and talk to you about inequality in schools and race.
All right, well, right off the bat, I mean, what's with the scoff there? This is a debate. You have to answer tough questions. It's not the State of the Union where you get to just sit in the background and do finger guns all night like a Hollywood agent at an Oscar party. "Leo, you're crushing it, Brad. I'm going to see you at the Playboy Mansion later. I'm going to see you in the grotto, Brad." And then Biden's answer only got worse from there.
What responsibility do you think that Americans need to take to repair the legacy of slavery in our country?
Well, they have to deal with look, there is institutional segregation in this country. Look, we talk about education. I propose that what we take is those very poor schools, the Title I schools, triple the amount of money we spend, from $15 to $45 billion a year. Number two, make sure that we bring in to help the teachers deal with the problems that come from home. We bring social workers into homes of parents to help them deal with how to raise their children. It's not that they don't want to help, they don't know quite what to do. Play the radio, make sure the television, make sure you have the record player on at night, the phone, make sure the kids hear words.
What are you talking about? What? Your solution to repair the legacy of slavery is for parents to make sure they have the record player on at night? And I'll tell you another thing. I don't like these new steam-powered locomotives they got out there. Kids need exercise. Whatever happened to the good old-fashioned hand car? Anyway, we're off track here. Because, that's what things are now. The important thing is a horse bit Mike Pence. Great. Or so he said. The story got laughs. That should have been the end of it. And yet, as we have learned with this administration over and over and over again, nothing, not even the smallest, most inconsequential equine details can be trusted. Because now, even the story about getting bit by a horse is being questioned by the horse's manager, who said, quote, "If he gave someone a nasty bite, I'd know it," adding that such behavior would be unexpected from a sweet horse. Well, who are you going to believe? The Vice President of the United States or a horse manager? Seriously, I'm asking. I do not know who to believe in this situation, but I'm definitely not inclined to side with these guys because they lie about everything. And you have to ask yourself, if they're willing to lie about something as dumb as a weather forecast or an interaction with a horse, what else are they lying about? For example, over the weekend, Trump lashed out at media reports that he was willing to meet with Iran's president after he ripped up the Obama-era nuclear deal with Iran.
The president tweeting, "The fake news is saying that I am willing to meet with Iran, no conditions. That is an incorrect statement, as usual."
Okay, first of all, no one thought you'd meet with no conditions because, for one thing, you definitely have several diagnosable conditions. Even if it was a meeting with the president of France, it would have conditions there, you know, like narcissistic personality disorder. Second, why does he always throw in some weird parenthetical, as usual? He talks about the media like a sitcom wife complaining about her idiot husband. Kevin's watching the game with his buddies while I'm stuck chasing the kids around and making dinner. As usual. So, Trump says the fake news is responsible for the incorrect statement that he was willing to meet with Iran without any preconditions. Man, I wonder where the fake news could have gotten such a crazy idea.
Secretary of State Mike Pompeo says the U.S. is ready to talk to Iran with no preconditions.
We're prepared to engage in a conversation with no preconditions.
Now, the president has made clear he's happy to take a meeting with no preconditions.
So, Secretary Pompeo, for clarity on this, can you foresee a meeting between President Trump and the Iranian leader later this month surrounding the United Nations?
Sure.
Would the president support that, and do you support that actively?
The president's made very clear. He's prepared to meet with no preconditions.
Oh my God, the fake news is coming from inside the House. As usual. You guys, who knows? Maybe these cabinet secretaries over here spreading fake news were just misinformed. I mean, it's not like the president himself has ever said on TV multiple times that he would meet with Iran with you know what, just, well, roll the clips.
Do you have preconditions for that meeting?
No preconditions, no. They want to meet, I'll meet. Anytime they want. Anytime they want. It's good for the country, good for them, good for us, and good for the world. No preconditions. You want to talk good, otherwise you can have a bad economy for the next 3 years. Not as far as I'm concerned. No preconditions.
Chuck Todd goes out of his way to lock Trump into his comment of no preconditions. It's as if he knows Trump is a week away from him denying it. And you're not going to leave this interview and immediately say this is fake news. Absolutely not. Because I see you have Twitter open on your phone. You're not tweeting that right now, are you? Absolutely not. How many K's in the word fake? The reason Trump keeps waffling between confrontation with Iran and deal-making with Iran is pretty simple. He doesn't know anything about any of this. He has no actual worldview, and he doesn't know what he wants. Sometimes he claims to be against Middle East wars. Other times he takes orders from the dictators he's friendly with, like in this case, Saudi Arabia's Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. Trump is so close to MBS and so proud of our arms sales to Saudi Arabia that when they met last year in the Oval Office, Trump literally showed off giant posters of the weapons he was selling to the kingdom.
We've become very good friends over a fairly short period of time. I was in Saudi Arabia in May, and we are bringing back hundreds of billions of dollars into the United States. If you look in terms of dollars, $3 billion, $533 million, $525 million, $6 billion, that's for frigates. 889 million, 63 million. THAAD system, $13 billion. The C-130 airplanes, the Hercules, great plane, $3.8 billion. The Bradley vehicles, that's the tanks, $1.2 billion.
He's selling billions of dollars in weapons to a tyrannical regime, and he's acting like he's showing him the menu at a restaurant. If you look over here, you'll see tonight's special. We got the Bradley tanks. Those are fresh. They just came in. The Hercules airplanes, 2 for 1, and of course, our house specialty, the pommes frites. Do you want some pommes frites for the table to share while you wait? Now, the reason Trump is suddenly backpedaling on his outreach to Iran is that Saudi Arabia and Iran are rivals who are engaged in a bunch of proxy wars, and Saudi Arabia wants America's help in that conflict. So last night, Trump threatened an illegal and unconstitutional war with Iran on where else? Twitter.
Saudi Arabia oil supply was attacked. There is reason to believe that we know the culprit, are locked and loaded depending on verification, but are waiting to hear from the kingdom as to who they believe was the cause of this attack and under what terms we would proceed.
Think about how insane this is. The President of the United States, the guy who spent the entire campaign falsely claiming He wanted to stay out of the Middle East and would put America first. Just threatened a war with Iran on Twitter and said he was waiting for Saudi Arabia to tell him what to do. I never thought I'd say this, but someone needs to let American Pharaoh loose in the Oval Office. He doesn't even need to bite Trump. Just chase him around for a while. Keep him distracted. Mike Pence is the one you want. Pence ratted you out. And let's not forget, we also have no idea what Trump's personal financial motivations are here when it comes to Saudi Arabia. So far, all we do know is that Trump registered 8 companies in Saudi Arabia during the 2016 campaign. Saudi lobbyists spent $270,000 at Trump's hotel in December 2016. A visit from Saudi officials to Trump's International Hotel in New York City helped boost the hotel's quarterly revenue by 13% in 2018's first quarter. And on top of all that, he and the King of Saudi Arabia touched that weird glowing orb during a trip to Riyadh in 2017. Where it's possible, they Freaky Friday'd. Now look, it is always hard, almost impossible to prove body swapping, but think of how well Donald Trump has treated Saudi Arabia post-orb. Of course, if the king is in Trump's body, then that means Trump is inside the king's body. Has anyone checked in on the king? And now that Democrats in Congress are investigating Trump's financial conflicts, Trump is lashing out and calling on Congress to investigate former President Obama for a deal Obama made to produce content for Netflix after his presidency was over. Although, again, Trump's Twitter syntax was hard to follow. Trump wrote, "They failed on the Mueller report, they failed on Robert Mueller's testimony, they failed on everything else. So now the Democrats are trying to build a case that I enriched myself by being president. These radical left Democrats are crazy. Obama Netflix?" Why does he say it like even he isn't sure what he's saying makes sense? It's like if you get super high with your buddies and try to decide what to put on TV, but you can't really get the words out of your mouth. Dude, what should we watch? Obama Netflix? Is that a thing? If anything, it sounds like a new slang term for when you want to invite a date over to your place, but only to talk about detailed policy proposals. Hey, I got some ideas for solving climate change. Want to come over and Obama Netflix and chill? This is why we can't take anything Trump and his aides say at face value. They lie about the smallest things, like horses, to the biggest things, like war. They constantly contradict themselves and each other, and we have no idea what their hidden financial interests are. They lie and enrich themselves while the rest of us run around and try to hold them accountable. As usual. Let's get a closer look.